Welcome to Q Aquatics and Exotics. My name's Suzy and today I want to do a fish room tour, starting off with my wall of 40-gallon breeders. I have 11 40-gallon breeders, the hallway and the laundry room, and then I also have the main fish room. So I'm going to go over all those tanks, and I'll have another section of all my fish tanks that are not in my fish room. So this could be a little bit lengthy. I might split it up in two. I haven't decided yet. I probably won't make that decision until I edit. So let's get started with my wall of 40-gallon breeders. So this one here isn't actually on my wall. This is my newest addition, my 40-gallon. I made this for my two red ear sliders. There is one in this tank. The other one is somewhere in this room, and I'm not giving up. I am not going to give up until I find that turtle. But this is my 40-gallon breeder. It's got blue and white sand in it. It's got a shark filter, because when you have a turtle tank, you need a super good filter. And many of these products you're going to be able to find. I'll put a link below. They're affiliate links, but it's where I get some of my favorite products, is at keepfishkeeping.com. But that's my red ear slider, indoor tank, 40-gallon breeder, which starts off the whole wall. My fish room is powered off of a linear piston air pump I got from Aquarium Co-op. And I'll show you that up here. So all my tanks are run off of that. Some of my tanks have a little added filtration, and I'll go over each one of those. The first 40-gallon is my Red Devil. This is Guy Smiley. My daughter got it for me after my pet Marilyn Monroe died, and I did a video on that. I think I talked about it in my live stream. It's hard to talk about still. It's one thing when plants die, you know, I get sad, I feel bad, but when a pet dies, it's, you know, I don't like to keep talking about it. But I'm going to go across the top is my 40-gallon Anthropopus. I'm going to call him my Red Devil. It's Guy Smiley. This is a heated tank, also has my Nomo filter in it. Right next to it, this tank here was my Carefish tank. My Carefish tank started off with 3 females and 2 males, and all the females have died. I don't have to explain that you need a male and female, but this one is my last one. I actually just put these tetras in here recently once the female passed away. I'm like, I didn't want the 2 males to be in here by themselves, and I was rearranging some stuff. This is the last tank that needs to be de-algaed. And a lot of this comes from this crazy moss. I kind of like it, so I'm leaving this as is for now. Some people don't like it. That's fine. You be you. I'll be me. Let's move on. Now, when wood gets to be less expensive than gold, I will probably make wood covers for these. But right now, I'm using shower curtains because who can afford wood? Holy cow. This is my 40-gallon breeder that has the black and red panda barbs. Beautiful. I got 2 pair in here and my Gymnogeophagus. This plant's got a lot of dragonstone and rhizome plants. Love it. Both Java fern and Anubias all mixed up. I also have some of my creations in here that have, I made this netting to hold together some of these potho roots because I have pothos growing everywhere. And this has a Title 75 on the back. And like I said, I'm hoping to get some wood on here to build some proper shelves. This tank has one of my favorite tetras in it. This is my Congo Tetra. Love this. It also has my American flagfish. This has wood in it. It has 2 sponge filters, and again, hang on the back filter. I just de-algae this whole tank. It took about 4 weeks to do. If you want to see that video, I have it up here, and I'm loving the way it's looking. I added some more plants, and it's doing very well. Now, I can't just walk by, but here's my half-living, can't wait to go outside living plant wall that I've started. And over here is the next tank that needs to be upgraded. 3 of my Polypterus are in here and my 2 electric Blue Jack Dempseys. This has a lot of Java fern. It's got a blackbeard algae. I kind of like it, so I'm leaving it. So that's the top row of this 40-gallon breeder. Let's go to the bottom row. Now this one, I don't know if you can see, these are my baby axolotls. I have about 50 baby axolotls in here. So they're getting fed 3 to 4 times a day. I also have some baby axolotls that I can see that are in my 40-gallon breeder. I do try to fish them out. It's very hard to catch them in a 40-gallon breeder. I'm thinking about putting all the babies in the 40-gallon breeder, but right now I want to make sure that they all eat. So here are the parents. There are 5 axolotls, my 3 female and my daughter's 2 male. And if they spawn again, they spawn again, but I'm trying really hard to get this going, and once I get some fish outside, I'll free up some more tanks. But for right now, I'm taking my chance in here. Good chance that they're going to still breed. So if anybody's interested in an axolotl, just let me know. I'll be putting them up on Get Gills. When they're ready, of course. Over here is not my shell dweller tank. Well, these are my Brochardis. I've got my Brochardis in here. I also have, where is he? My black Calvus. There he is. You see him? I love my black Calvus. He's like one of my favorites. Little baby. I've got him as a fry. I do like him a lot. But this is my Brochardi tank. I'm thinking of acquiring some rocks. If I can find 5 or 6, maybe 10 good size, all the same kind of rocks, I will put them in here as well, because I think they like living in the rocks more than they like living in shells. They actually don't live in shells, which is why I put some flower pots in, a rock in to hide in. But these are my Brochardis and my Calvus, my black Calvus. This is my shell dweller tank. These are my Neolamprologa multifasciatas. These are absolutely adorable. And there's a Dickfeldi over there, Julia Dichromis. But I got a 6-pack at my BAP program, at the Bucks County Aquarium Society BAP program, and about 6 months later I got another 6-pack. I have no luck whatsoever breeding them. A lot of people seem to have no problem breeding them. I can see each community that's set up. There is male and female in almost every community, but I have yet to see any babies swim around. But very powerful, tiny little cichlid. Love these guys. And the last 40-gallon breeder is over here. These are the fish that I bred outside 3 summers ago, and they also have 2 painted turtles in it. These are my White Cloud Mountain minnows. some fatheads and one platy. And after they bred outside, I brought them in and they've been living in here for the last couple of years. So those are my wall of 40 breeders. Before we go around into the main fish room, let's take a look at my Oscars. This is Oscar. He pouts, he's moody, he doesn't like when I change the water. If you're wondering why this water is half filled, it's because I have this little divider in here with two baby Oscars. And Oscar does not seem very aggressive towards him. Obviously, if this was Jay Wilson, he'd be attacking that thing right here. This is a 75 gallon. This is my only 75 gallon, which I would love to upgrade some of my aquariums into 75 or 90 gallons. And while I'm here, underneath this 75 gallon is what I call my fancy pants tanks. Very nice tanks, don't get me wrong. And this one has my yellow betta fish in it, or glowfish betta, whatever you want to call it. It's a female. I love the female bettas. Over here, I had a tiny fry for a long time. It was a mystery fry. I got this from a friend of mine at the Bucks County Aquarium Society. He says it's a rainbow fish. He knows the kind of rainbow fish. I'll have to look it up. I'll probably put it across the side. And then here's two more rimless tanks. Nice tanks, lights work, everything. I just don't have any room for them. And I'm not about bending over to take care of them. So I really wish I had some nice shelves in my living room or something I could bring them upstairs in. But when he gets bigger, this rainbow fish, I'll probably put him in with my dwarf rainbows. We'll have to see. I'll have to ask Tom how big it gets. But I do love my female betta, and I like it that she's a glowfish. So now let's get into the main part of the fish room. Right across from my wall of 40 breeders is my brackish tank. This houses my mud skipper and a platy or a molly that I have in here. That's a molly. There were some molly fry living inside the basket. It's just basically got a lot of sand on the bottom, and then I've got land area because the mud skipper does like to play on top a lot. This is the back side of the brackish water, 45 gallon. It's got 3 sides that are visible. Same thing down here with this 20 gallon long. And this is my quarantine for plants. This is where I put plants that need a timeout that I'm either dipping or plants that just came in off a shipment. As you can see, I got a tank inside the tank. So inside that tank I have substrate. Everywhere else I do not. And that's my 20 gallon long. Back here, this is my 16 widescreen aquarium. It sits on top of my favorite bookshelf. It's got a lot of my mismatched, my glow tetras, my rummy nose, one lone rummy nose, some brass tetras, and 2 plecos I just got, super red plecos, which I've never had luck keeping. But this tank here is my 29 high. Love the 29 high. This has some red-eyed, high-fin, Lyre tail swordfish. These are Lyre tail swordfish. I've got 2 different trios in here. I'm hoping to make it work. This is planted with Anubis, we got Wisteria, we got Alternanthera radiaceae, Hygro, dwarf sag. I got 1 or 2 crypts, the long narrow, Java fern. As many plants as I could put in here, although now I am waiting and being patient and letting it grow in. I'm not about moving around these tanks anymore because 3 years ago I had some amazing planted tanks, but I kept moving them around and messing with them, and I don't want to do that anymore. I want to establish these planted tanks. Over here is one of my favorite fish. These are the blue angelfish. Absolutely love these. I got this dozen of angelfish from Donnie at NY Gold. He is the sweetheart of a fish keeper. Let me tell you, what a nice guy all around. It also has a half a dozen neon rainbow fish. During the beginning of the pandemic, this is a piece of wood I got when I was at the, I'm going to fill in the blank because I have no idea. And this 55 gallon has some Amazon swords, Vallisneria, cryptocorin, got a lot of hygro over here, Pogostamus octopus. I've got a log filled with trident java fern, and I have this couple of logs in here because I do have a pretty large pleco in here. It's about 8 inches, not so large yet. But I also have my Botea striata and about a half a dozen panda cory cats. Love this tank. I hope to raise these angels in this tank until I have a breeding pair. I would love to breed these angelfish. I just absolutely love them. And my cory cats are a little bit of everything. I got panda cory cats, I got sturbi, I got Julia, I got green laser, I have salt and pepper. It just seems to be all the cory cats are in here. I just never mess with them. I just let them stay in here. So down below, these are some Caris fish and my Pandagara. I love these Pandagara and I love these Caris fish. These are my goody-eyed fish I got from Tom from our Bucks County Aquarium Society. A real nice guy. Oh my gosh, so helpful. Go-to. He is great and they are breeding like crazy. I am so happy. I have started this colony of goodyids and the Pandagaras are growing amazing. This is a very small tank with a sponge filter, some Java fern, some Java moss, Ludwigia, and some Anubis scattered about. Over here, I probably have about 50 polar blue parrotfish. I never saw myself as a parrotfish kind of guy, gal. Never saw myself as ever wanting them, but my friend Andrea up the road had way too many fry and wanted to know if I had a place for them. I knew I could grow them out. So they're growing out in this tank, soon to go in a larger tank. But I have this flipper magnifying glass that I got from PicTech. I love it because it's really letting me see them grow that I don't actually see myself, which is great. And I'm also noticing there's a couple of live fry in here. Not sure what they are, but this has a cryptocorin that's in a bottle because I know it doesn't like to be transplanted and it's doing very well. It also has some of my Bulbitis in here. I've got some dwarf sage. I got Anubis. I like this and I want this to grow out as well. Now this tank over here, this is last year's summer tubbing. I got these beautiful platies from Outside Tubbing. There's a couple of endlers in here, not too many, but I do see some more other live bears that are not these platies. So, and a mother Anubis, I think it's a cophifolia plant that looks like it might be about to flower. And the reason why these fish that grow outside, that I propagate outside, look like these, I have 2 tanks like this now, is that as I bring them in, I don't quarantine them. I bring them in with the pond filter, with the pond water, and the pond plants, and anything I can find outside all go in the same tank. And then I slowly, over the winter, through the water changes, acclimate it to my tap water again. And now this is what I have. I think I might be actually breeding these guys outside this year. They did so well. They're beautiful. They look so good in a planted tank. So that is this wall. Now this wall might look familiar because this is where I do my lives a lot of time. Sunday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, live every Sunday so far. Not every Sunday, there's been a couple Sundays I was sick. This is my 55-gallon Frontosa tank. Absolutely love it, the Frontosas. I've got 3 amazing blue dolphin cichlids and a Venustus. Try to say it without sounding Italian. Venustus. And they're not all from the same lake whatsoever, but these are fish that are all housed in this 55-gallon. This would do much better as a 90 gallon. No doubt in my mind. Or a 180. Now down here, we're going to go, and this is my Pea Puffer tank. I've done many videos of setting this up. This has about a half dozen pea puffers in it and this very annoying Chinese algae eater, which is just one big lie. It doesn't eat algae. So if you think you're going to get an algae eater that's going to help you eat algae, it's a lie. It's a big fat lie. I don't even know why they call them that. This has a lot of Java moss in it. I originally decorated it as if it was a miniature setting in a castle with a road and everything, but it doesn't matter anymore. Like, everything's all mixed up, and I love the tank. So this is also sponge filters behind me with this guy going crazy. This is my 90 gallon, just got for free. Just did a tank on how to clean it out. Right now it's got a canister filter on it, but it can have a backflow, overflow, dry sump. I have a 40 gallon, empty 40 gallon here. I'm going to be building a dry sump. I'm going to be following the instructions from John's video at KG Tropicals. You should check it out. He made it look so simple that I'm going to be building my dry sump. I'm going to be building my sump from his video with this 40 gallon. And my 40 gallon fits because I don't have a bar here, so I'm not worried about it. But this 90 gallon right now is run off an old Fluval 404 canister filter. Very first canister filter I ever used. It's got my sponge filter, or box filter. It's got a 400 watt heater, which I would much prefer two different 200 watt heaters, but it is what it is. And that is this tank. Love this tank, love this fish. This is Triton the Trimac. He is my Trimaculatus. I do want to get a female for him, but he just goes crazy. He's crazy fish, man. He's so personable, but he's crazy. He goes crazy with that molly over there in the brackish water, and he goes crazy with these frontosas here. Hey, stop fighting. I saw Scott's video, the King and Queen Cichlids, when the two fish were fighting. He's like, stop it, stop it. I have to do that all the time. Like, stop fighting. So those are my fish tanks over here in this fish room. Let's go check out the laundry room. So for top secret reasons, I can't show you this section over here because it's a secret. I didn't do my laundry. Anyway, who cares? I'm taking care of fish. Let's start over here with my Mbuna tank. This is what's left of my Mbuna tank. They are down to a 29 gallon. There is 2 yellow labs in here, 2 or 3 Pseudotropheus. No secret, not my favorite fish. This tank just constantly gives me angst, but these are also my very first fish I ever got for myself. So that yellow lab in here that's in this tortoise shell sticking his head out, he's not stuck. Trust me, he's not stuck. He is my first yellow lab I got. And it used to be set up with rocks and slates. Now, it's not. I have no words. But I do have a ZESEN filter in here, which I absolutely love. Most of my tanks have extra sponge filters, seeding, getting ready for another tank, and this is run off of air. So that is my Mbuna tank. And right next to it, this tank. And this here is a 20 gallon high. It's on sand. It's run off of sponge. It's run off of the sponge filter. But in this tank, I have some amazing clay gobies and a honey gourami that they don't do a lot of physical swimming back and forth. So this tank is perfect for them, but it's got height. I also have in here some coolie loaches. So I got a lot of Java fern in here. I got some hygro. I have water wisteria. I got some trident back there. A lot of dwarf sag and snails. Did I tell you I love snails? Love snails, bring them on. But these clay gobies, love these fish. I got these fish when I was up visiting Elizabeth from One Fish, Two Fish ROC in Rochester, New York. And I have a honey gourami in here. Over here, Now this tank is my 29-gallon Nano Tank. This is the one I had done a blackout on to get rid of the algae. It did amazing. And now I keep up on the water changes aside from this right here. See this growing? Every once in a while I could just reach in and remove whatever I don't want. I also have a brush, but I'm not too worried about it. Now that it's cleaned up, regular water changes seems to be doing pretty good, aside from the little bits of algae here and there. But I have some Pandagara in here, Autosynclus in here. So I also have these Furcata Rainbows. Absolutely love the Furcata Rainbows. Neon Tetras, Daisy Ricefish, Emerald Rasboras, Celestial Pearl Danios. I said the Pandagaras. I just love this Nano Tank. This is my 29-gallon Nano Tank. And this Crypt. Love it. It was covered in algae. Did the cleanup. It stayed kind of tinted green. I'm going to be okay with it because I don't want anything to happen to this. I don't know how to make this plant go red again. It doesn't feel like it's covered in algae anymore. I think it's just tinted green now. But so far it looks like it's doing great. It's a slow grower, so if all these new leaves come up and they're not green, I'm just going to let it go. I'm going to let it be because I want all these plants to fill in. I'm very proud of that Anubis. Now let's look underneath these tanks. Here I'm going to take this off the rack. I'm going to take this off the tripod for you. This is it started off as a hospital tank. That little Mbuna there was left for dead, which is another reason I didn't like him. He's missing his eyes. He had no fins left. He had big chunk missing out of him. It was about 1.5 years ago. I healed him up in this hospital tank, and I can't put him back in the cichlid tank. So this is his tank. He gets his tank. He does get some snails here and there, but it just basically has some small amount of substrate, some places for him to hide, some Java fern over here, or Java moss over here, sponge filter driven. I'm just happy he's alive, but I would love, he's the right size to go in my Mbuna tank, but he got the crap beat out of him one time. I don't want to see if it's going to happen again. So that's in a 20-gallon long. Right next to that 20-gallon long is one of my 10 gallons. I only have a couple 10 gallons set up, and this one has 2 guppies, but they're both female, and 3 white mollies. I do like the mollies. I toyed with the idea of putting the mollies in the brackish water, but they were salt water when I got them, so that's where they're staying. And this has some Java fern, Java moss, Anubis. I do like this tank. It's very small though, so I'm really making an effort to try to get rid of duckweed. But over here is another 20-gallon long. This has my Danio gold wings in them, my tin winnies, and some of my favorite snails. And it's just in a 20-gallon long with some dwarf Sagittarius, Anubis. I don't know what that is. Probably some Java fern. This is also run off of a sponge filter, and there's a little extra airflow there. So that's at 20-gallon long. So that brings us to this side of the laundry room. Let me get you back on the tripod. And that brings us to Jay Wilson. Anybody who knows me, knows my channel, knows Jay Wilson is my very angry Oscar. And he's got attitude, man. I can't even clean his tank half the time. And he is right next to this 29-gallon Nano Tank. He hurts himself all the time. He throws himself on the floor. He rips his head open on the lid when I put the lid on it. But he's very rarely moody, which is good. But I have a hard time cleaning out his tank. I actually have to use a net on one side. If I put the net in here, he'll go on this side, and then I can clean out that side and do the same on that side. But which is probably why there's such mulm buildup over there, because he is dangerous. But I love him. Let's see if we can go a little higher. That might help. How about this? That helps a little bit. So these are 5-gallon tanks. I have 3 5-gallon tanks. This is my honey gourami and my German blue ram. Let's see if we can, oh, he's right up front and center. He is gorgeous. I was showing off this tank that there's 2 of them and there was something wrong with one of their eyes. I medicated it and I don't know what happened to his mate. I don't see him in here. I looked under everything, around everything. But this is that 5-gallon tank. It's got some Pogosamus. It's got Anubis. It's got Java Fern. You see the theme here. Because when I get 1 or 2 plants and I propagate them, I share them with all my tanks. This tank is a quarantine tank for these dwarf neon rainbows. I've tried root tabs. I've tried extra water changes. I just don't think I'm very good with the smaller tanks. Over here is another 5-gallon tank that has my Java Fern tree that's on my cholla wood and some Java moss over here with some random guppies that my girlfriend Andrea up the road keeps giving me, which is awesome. And now my row of 2.5-gallon tanks. Thought there were some black shrimp. I don't see any colonizing. I don't see any babies. Doesn't mean they're not in there. With some Wassersang. Look at that. Here are some snails and some red cherry caridina shrimp. You may not see the shrimp, but I know they're in there. Over here is some more black cherry shrimp that I got from Mark De Niro. Tons of babies now. He gave me some females that were buried up. You can see against the wall. There's some. It's got a couple snails in there. Java Fern. This is just a tank that has some Wassertang and snails. It doesn't have any fish in it. This is also a tank that doesn't have any fish in it because I'm finding these smaller tanks are too hard for me to take care of. But they're good with plants. So because the plants have a very, you know, certain plants, obviously, not the tall ones. But so I'm going to keep my shrimp, my snails up here. These 5-gallon I'm going to keep to quarantine, fry, grow out. This one because I can keep this tank super hot. It's like at 82 degrees. So thanks for coming along and checking out my fish room tour. The good, the bad, and the algae. And thank you, Patty, for that title. It is amazing. So these are all the fish tanks that are in my fish room. If you didn't see my fish tanks that were outside of the fish room, check out the link up here. We did that on one of my Sunday night lives. Thanks, guys, and I'll see you next time.
Hey, everybody, it's SuzyQue. Hey, everybody, it's SuzyQue. Nah, hey, everybody, it's SuzyQue. So come along with me. Said I'm SuzyQue.